Oh, he loves the scratchy scratches. This is Ben and Jerry, my two-headed snake, and I'm going to be updating you on these as well as all the other animals at the reptile zoo. If you're excited, go ahead and hit that like button. And while you're down there, subscribe. I always love to read your comments as well. You might remember that Ben and Jerry actually had a really bad injury right between here about 6 or 8 months ago. And basically what happens is in their enclosure, there was a ledge right here, and they would actually fight to get past that ledge. They push their heads like this, and they would actually injure themselves. That tells you how crazy two-headed snakes are. They actually are two different animals. One wanted to go one way, one wanted to go the other way. They kept on injuring themselves. So what we did is we reconfigured their entire enclosure, took the ledges out, and now 6 months later, they are completely good. Look at how it healed up. Not even a little scar. I'm so excited because Ben and Jerry are so important. Two-headed snakes are rare, and to have an adult like this is extremely awesome. And you guys might remember I had talked to you about the black-headed pythons being gravid. We're going to update those guys later in the video. So I always love updating on my girl here, Ivy. You can tell she's deep in shedding right now. She's just starting to clear up. She still has that bluish look to her. It's been a few weeks since she's ate because she went into shed. You can just see how massive she is, which is really cool. So Ivy is doing good. You guys may ask, am I ever going to breed Ivy again? She had 41 babies, as you remember. The truth is, I wanted to breed anacondas one time, just to say that I did it. In particular, green anacondas. I'd always bred yellow anacondas in the past. But they're just such amazing animals. And Ariana is absolutely incredible too. She's a puppy dog, and I got Ivy when she was about the size of Ariana. So I know that Ariana is probably going to be Ivy's size here in another few years, and that's going to be absolutely ridiculous. It's crazy how hard it is to find this thing. And this wall here at the Reptarium is always a great wall because it's got smaller animals that people can kick the tires, so to speak. But I wanted to update you on Tyson, the albino box turtle. It's a little more than a year old, and it's doing so well. I mean, it's the cutest little thing. Now, these guys do slow down eating a little bit during the winter, almost like a brumation. So he's kind of hiding out. He's not eating quite as much. Here, as it warms up in the next little bit, he's going to start crushing food. And he's probably more than doubled his size since we've got him. Probably about 2.5 times the gram weight. One day it's going to get about 4 to 6 inches long. And box turtles have amazing personalities. And with an animal this cute, it's just exciting to see him around. And of course, one of the centerpieces, or I should say corner pieces, is baby Kush, the croc monitor. You can see how attentive he is. He always kind of just checks you out as you're over at the fish spot and stuff like that. But I tell you, you definitely got to be a little bit careful. Oh! He's a little bit hyped up. We've been working with him a lot, but you still have to be really careful. You don't want to get bit by baby Kush. He's going to go over to the new Reptarium, have a bigger enclosure. We got to get him tamed out. My goal is to one day have a super tame crocodile monitor. Will it be baby Kush? I mean, that's yet to be seen. And of course, this is our sloth room, his little private haven. He's giving a little scratchy scratch right now. What are you doing over there, Drogo? He's our two-toed sloth. Love this guy to death. He's actually going to stay here at this Reptarium. You know, he's so used to this room, and it's so comfortable for him. I hate to move him, right? We're going to have almost the exact same identical room across the street. Probably move the tree maybe more into the corner so that there's more open space with a bunch of vines and ropes. We're hoping that we'll actually get a pair of little ones, maybe like 6 or 8 month old ones. Because, of course, we got Drogo when he was 2 years old. And he really wasn't that acclimated to being handled. So what we had to do is work with him a lot. We get babies, we'll be able to really acclimate them and have more interactions with them. It would be really cool. But look at how cool. I love this little guy. He is the cutest thing in the world. And of course, one of the most popular snakes in the entire Reptarium would be Perdita. And of course, every single shed, she gets a little bit darker. For those of you guys that have been following the vlog for a long time, you remember when she was pure white with maybe 1 or 2 freckles of black on her. Now she's predominantly black with just a little bit of white freckling. She's going to continue to get more melanin in her black pigment, but she's going to not be a solid black snake. She'll always have some white patterning to her, but she just has such a great disposition. People love her to death, and I can absolutely see why. Of course, I'm not going to update the zoo and zoo animals without talking about Salt and Pepper. Look at Salty, how big she's getting now. I remember when she was a baby, she literally was like the size of this part of her paw. I mean, it's crazy how much. Look at her. She's like, oh, go ahead, touch my paw. And now she wants to go. She is so amazing. She's always wanted to eat. I cannot wait to get her into the big enclosure and let her grow to 6 or 8 feet here. It's going to be absolutely amazing. She's definitely went from a little tiny alligator to a pretty big alligator. Right now she's stationed. That's the way she's stationed. All right, Dad, are you going to feed me? Today I'm not going to feed you, baby. I'm sorry. I'm going to hang out with you. But I tell you what an absolutely wonderful animal. And you guys always probably are wondering why I'm not updating Pepper as much. And it's just quite frankly that Pepper just isn't as docile as Salt, right? I mean, you try to take Pepper out and it goes after you hardcore. And that's the thing. Some alligators can be really docile like Salt, and other alligators like Pepper just don't want to be messed with. Still amazing animal, still love it to death. Great display animal, really good to feed. But hey, if I want to take it out, I may not have all my fingers. I always told you guys that as Sunfire was gonna get bigger, she was gonna get prettier and prettier. And don't get me wrong, she's one day gonna be, you know, 17, 18 foot, but she's starting to get to that size now where she's getting absolutely spectacular. Now she's looking for food right now because it's about feeding day. So I don't wanna get too close because she's probably gonna be like, I'll take a pop at you. But look at how cool it is when she's kind of just curled up on that branch like that. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. And look at how bright she looks. She's only gonna get better with age. Brillo is my baby. I love this guy so much. I always said I didn't know how much I needed an armadillo until I got an armadillo. Of course, the 6-banded armadillo, he's just over a year old right now, and he's pretty much full grown, but these guys will live 25 or 30 years, and of course, they are absolutely amazing. He doesn't have the best eyesight, but that smell is absolutely great. He can smell stuff from a long distance away, and he always knows me. That's why he's like, Dad, what's going on? He knows that I always give him lots of treats, and I always spoil him tremendously. The interesting thing, look at this. There's 1, 2, 3 dots right here. Those are actually his scent glands. So whenever he's upset, which he never gets upset, he would actually excrete a scent right out of here that would be stinky. And of course, look at this. Oh, he loves the scratchy scratches. Oh, it's like a dog. He actually scratches. Like, so again, just like a tortoise or a turtle, the shell is something that they can actually feel. And of course, it's made up of keratin, just like your hair or the shell of a turtle. Wow, he's absolutely ridiculous. I hope that he's around for another 20 plus years. And like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to update you on the black-headed pythons. Come on in here with me right now. You can see this is the female right here. See how distended her scales are starting to spread? Where Snap is this male right here. Ooh, he's gonna come take a pop at me. I gotta be careful. He doesn't have that distension. Well, she's full of eggs right now, and she's on this hot spot, soaking up. And that's what happens with snakes, is once they become gravid or pregnant, they actually will kind of soak up that heat. That's gonna help their eggs. Now, she's just coming out of shed right now. After that shed, they're 21 to 30 days before what they call ovipositioning, are actually laying their eggs. And she'll probably crawl down into the bedding and make a little nest and then have a clutch of eggs. Hopefully, she'll have anywhere from 6 to 12 eggs. It's gonna be absolutely amazing. Never produced black-headed pythons before, so it's the first time ever, and I am excited about it. Speaking about excited about it, later in the vlog, I want to show you how Juliet and Lucy are getting along. My boy Tabasco, of course, we've had a little bit of a jaded past. You never know what's going to happen with this guy, right? But the truth is that he knows that when I'm ready to pet him, look at that, he closes his eyes, he pushes into me. Of course, he's the first animal that ever gave me stitches. It was totally my fault. It wasn't his fault at all. But interesting enough with Tabasco is the fact that he knows different people. He knows when I come around, I'm going to give him pets, so he always comes up to the glass and like, come on, Dad, give me pets, because I do it every single day. On the flip side, he hates Connie.
Everybody say hi to Tabasco. I usually have to trick him to let me get his food bowl, because if I were to reach my hand in there now, he would eat me.
I mean, Connie even walks by and he opens his mouth and he crashes into the cage. He wants her so bad. It's just crazy how smart some of these animals are. There's no doubt that Tabasco and me, although he might have given me a little battle wound here, I love him to death. You never quite know what you're gonna get when you got Night Fury coming out. Oh, I got the goosebumps for sure. Night Fury is absolutely wonderful. Of course, a motley golden child retic. I don't take him out nearly as much as I used to because, like I said, he's so food motivated. It's crazy, but look at how beautiful that snake is. And he's gonna get a lot larger. As a matter of fact, he's gonna get a giant enclosure over across the street so that he can go into a full cage, floor to ceiling, so people can really see how beautiful this is. And once he gets 14 or 15 foot, woohoo doggy. Not only is that gonna be one gorgeous snake, but hopefully he'll calm down a little bit. Like I said, he is unpredictable. Definitely don't want to get bit by this guy. A snake I don't update nearly enough on the vlog would of course be Peppa, the hognose snake. Of course, like Peppa the pig because of the little hognose right there. Absolutely cool snakes. People love Western hognose. I love Western hognose snake. It's really an animal that especially a lot of kids come and want to hold Peppa just because it's such a cool animal and because they're so docile. They stay small, adorable as could be. Remember when Mango and Papaya were just this big? The only downside is that they're not very docile. You know, we want giant Cayman lizards because they can get 3 to 4 foot long. We want them to be super tame. Right now, they're not tame at all. Try to work with them, but I'll show you what happens when you actually try to do anything with these guys. They'll try to attack you. Whoa! And trust me, oh! And they have crazy, crazy, crazy bites. These guys can actually crack snails. So listen, they got the jaw power that will mess you up. Hopefully these guys will mellow out as they get bigger because they are supposed to be going into Salt and Pepper's enclosure when Salt and Pepper go across the street. Freya, Freya, Freya. Love this animal, of course. Just the size that Salt was when we got her. Actually, Salt was even smaller than this. It's cute, and she is starting to calm down a little bit. She's not used to being being handled because she's just a little baby alligator. And to a baby alligator this size, of course, everything seems like it's scary, right? So we have to gain its trust. We always have to make sure that she understands that us taking out is actually kind of a reward, and she'll actually start to enjoy coming out just like Salt always did as she's growing up. But I tell you what, it is so cool to have another baby albino alligator. Look at Beetlejuice, the Bell's face lace monitor. He's so cool. Since we put him up in this enclosure, he seems to have actually calmed down even a bunch. He's very, very comfortable up here, right? Kind of out of the way. He's got lots of climbing. He's got the water. He's got everything. A dream animal of mine to have owned a Bell's face lace monitor, and trust me, it has not disappointed. Whoa, look at Carl. Carl might be ready to eat. As soon as I open up the enclosure, he's like, "Wow, come out." You know I get bit by an emerald tree boa because they have the largest teeth of any non-venomous snake. Really big teeth. But the truth is, they're not really mean animals. They're just food motivated, and they stay just like that. That is the quintessential pose for an emerald tree boa. They hardly ever move. Look at this. This is a combination of two boas that I really love going together, and that's IMG, which is increasing melanin, meaning that as they get older, they get more and more black, and they have that iridescence like night fury, but it also has a leopard gene in it, so it's an IMG leopard boa. As this animal gets older, a lot of this pattern will fade out. It'll get more and more black, and just an absolutely wonderful animal. Again, a really cool display animal, but also super cool for handling. Pinocchio the Baron's racer. I mean, what a cool snake. I always loved Baron's racers. I don't know, the first time I saw it was probably when I was like 15, 16, and I always thought I would one day have them, but for whatever reason, I was always like kind of freaked out about the rear fang venomous, like, oh, I don't want to do that. What happens if someone gets bit? Truth is, they're really docile animals, and even people that have gotten bitten and envenomated, which is very rare because they actually have rear fangs they have to really sink their teeth in order to get any kind of envenomation. Typically, you get just a little bit of swelling in your hand. I'm not worried about them at all now, but I think that they're just such cool animals, and one day this is going to be probably 6, 7 foot long. But I just love its little nose. Said it before, Neo may be the most stunning snake that I have here at the Reptarium. Just that stark white and that beautiful black iridescence. Coming up on a year old here pretty soon, and this is about the size that I like to see my reticulated pythons at a year. It's really hard not to just feed the heck out of them and have them grow like crazy, but it's not really healthy for them. I want something that's going to be sustained over time. I always say when it comes to big snakes, you kind of want them a little bit lean and mean. That doesn't mean that they can't be really heavy bodied, but you don't want them to be obese, right? It really takes away the longevity. This snake should literally live 30, maybe even 35, 40 years. If you feed it too much, you're looking at maybe 15, 20 if you're really lucky. I'd rather have her around even if it takes longer to get her to size. It's so cool that the last 3 years we produced baby frilled dragons. Well, these are the latest baby frilled dragons that we produced. They are incredible, and when you get these guys captive bred like we've done here, they are unbelievably cool animals. I mean, super docile, and all I've been doing is giving away to friends and stuff like that because I haven't sold even one of them. I just want to keep all of them, to be totally honest. Maybe one day when we have a bigger group, we'll actually produce enough that one day I might sell some. You know what's been interesting is that Bella goes through her phases. I always say she's so much like a cat. Sometimes she loves attention, and sometimes she has nothing to do with attention. Lately, she's been so affectionate. You know, every time I come around, she comes right up, she wants pets, and I absolutely love her. I mean, she is such a good animal. Hi, baby girl, what are you doing? You silly monkey, I love you to death. I tell you what, Bella is amazing. Diddy and Dixie are cool too, but there's still always going to be something that I love about Bella more than anything else. And I always tell Evelyn, Bella, just between me and you, you're my favorite reptile in the entire Reptarium. Of course, this is the pair of milk frogs that had the babies just recently. As a matter of fact, I want to show you them. They're absolutely ridiculous. And there's probably about 50, 60 of these little milk frogs over here. Look at how little they are. Of course, I don't really want to pick them up with my hands because I'm going to have oil on my hands that is not really good for them, but you can kind of see, look at how big they're getting. Unbelievable. Look at, they're all sitting up on the edge. One's floating over here. They're all over the place. They literally went from a tadpole to this just in a matter of like 4 or 5 weeks. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put a card right here. If you want to see the entire metamorphosis of them from tadpole to this, we did a video on it. You guys definitely want to check that out. Alex was actually here for a private tour. Alex, what's your favorite snake or reptile you saw today?
Probably the two-headed snake.
Two-headed snake, that's the title of this video. Of course, we have 3 two-headed turtles. They're all really different. This one's kind of weird because instead of having the heads like side by side, the heads are a little bit stacked on top of each other, a little offset. Of course, they're really cool. I think two-headed turtles are really amazing, and it's cool that we have 3 of them, and they're all doing super, super well. The display we're gonna have across the street is gonna be absolutely ridiculous. We want people to come in and be blown away by it. Oh my gosh, we got snakes with 2 heads. We got turtles with 2 heads. Who knows what else we're gonna have with 2 heads soon.
I
Look how big the Satanzinia or Madagascan tree boa is getting. Such cool snakes. Now there's actually the eastern and westerns. These are the westerns here. The easterns actually are more greenish, right? I actually kind of prefer this one over the green ones. It's just a personal preference, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to one day get the easterns, because I think it'd be really cool to show both the westerns and easterns, of course, from Madagascar. Absolutely wonderful snakes, and just look at how cool that face looks. Look at Gemma. She is getting big. I tell you what, I'm so happy that I have a couple super big, really tame snakes. When we're open and take out a snake like Gemma, it blows people away. I work with these guys all the time and had giant snakes my whole life. They're not as like uncommon to me, right? But I sometimes have to think about, for someone that's never been around them, to be able to be up and close with a snake this size, it's just absolutely ridiculous. They never could think they could touch something. So it's really cool to have Gemma like that. Speaking of big snakes, let's go ahead and update Juliet and Lucy. Like I mentioned, I don't normally cohabitate two different animals, and obviously Lucy loved this enclosure, but it's a really big enclosure, and I thought for the short term, Lucy and Juliet, of course, could get along and be completely fine together. It's interesting because typically they stay on other sides of the cage. This is the warm side of the cage, this is the cooler side of the cage, and lately Lucy's been either here or right there. So Juliet kind of took up the space over here, and she's almost always over here. What I find interesting is that Lucy used to look so big, but now look at Juliet and how giant that snake is. And the difference is, of course, is that Lucy's a little bit cantankerous, and Juliet is absolutely a sweetheart. It's good that they're getting along, and again, they will be separated out when we open up across the street. Juliet will go across the street. Lucy ends up staying here. Just really cool to see them together, though. I love them to death, and that is the update of the zoo. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, there's a playlist that you can watch all kinds of videos. You can also hit that subscription button. It would mean a lot to me. Also, hit that like button while you're down there. Have a wonderful day, Reptile Army. Remember...
Oh, that actually made me want to cry.